Good morning, my friends. Whoops. Stepping in one of Lacey's holes. It's a very overcast day. It's early in the morning, and I've been out here in my garden. I've been weeding, and now what I'm doing is I'm mounding dirt around my potatoes. And so I thought I would give you gardening friends a few little tips on how I weed and potatoes. In case you didn't know, potatoes are the easiest thing in the world to grow. In the spring at the store, you'll see where they have like the seeds and so forth. They'll call them potato seeds. They're just, or seed potatoes. They're just little potatoes. They've not been exposed to herbicides and things like that. But you can use potatoes from the store, because I've done that. This is for any potato, sweet potatoes, you know, the golden Yukon potatoes, red potatoes, white potatoes, russet potatoes, any potatoes. What you need is your potato needs to start growing those eyes, and don't wait when the eyes are real little. You need to wait till they sprout up a little bit. And that's when, if the potato's little enough, you can put the whole potato in, but if it's a bigger potato, you just slice them. I've done that. I've taken like bigger potatoes and been able to slice them in 4 sections and get 4 potato plants from them. Okay, so these 2 rows here, I've mounded up. See? You can see, now see over there, that's not mounded. See how that's mounded? So you can see there, and now when you look over there, those aren't. So I'll show you what I do. So anyway, what happens, you put your potato in there. Potatoes need lots of water, so you have to water, and they will grow really fast. These have been here in my garden. I want to say I planted my garden 3.5 weeks ago, and this is what it looks like in 3.5 weeks. Okay, so when they get to be about this size, they start to bush out. You need to mound them, because potatoes grow in the mounds, and as these potato plants start to grow, I need to come and I need to continue mounding. So a potato plant will end up getting a big mound, and that's okay, because that's where all the potatoes are. They grow there, obviously, in the dirt. So I did mound those 2 in the back. I have to do this one here. So what you do is you just get a hoe. You come out from your plant. Don't get close to your plant, because if you have any little seedling potatoes that have already started to sprout out under the ground there, you don't want to disturb them. And you just come out like this, all the way around. And you can use your hoe like this to bring it in, but I find it disturbs the plant too much. I just put my hoe down, and I just come here with my hand, and I just come over here and mound the dirt all up like so. See, like that. And every few weeks or whatever, maybe every 3 weeks or so, I'll come out here and then mound them up through the summer till it's time to harvest the potatoes, and then I'll get a good crop. And when you know that the potatoes are ready to harvest, your potato plants are going to start dying off. And when they look like they're just about all dead, that means they're ready. And when you pull the plant, it'll be easy to pull it out because it'll be dead. Potatoes will come out. Because this now is all loose soil, you'll be able to just run your hands through there, and there will be all your potatoes. So one year, I think I planted about as many potatoes as I have this year. I've got 23 plants here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants, I think, over there. And I had about the same. I had probably about 30 plants or whatever. And I got about 60 pounds of potatoes. So it was a lot of potatoes. So, okay, so I got to finish these 2 rows and that row over there. But I want to take you through my garden, and I want to show you where it's pretty basically all weeded. Here's my weeds. And how was I able to just get these weeds? Well, you're going to get weeds, you're going to get sticks, you're going to get little rocks, little pieces of bark, and you could do this either of 2 ways. One thing that you need to do, and I should have saved a place where there were some weeds. I weeded everything already. I'm trying to look around. I think I weeded everything. Well, here's a few back here. I think I weeded this, but I didn't clean it up. So, where you have weeds and grass, get one of these things. This is a weeder. You go back and forth like this, and see, it will pull up any weeds. And then, you just come down here, and you can pick them up very easily, and then just do a little bit at a time, and throw your weeds in a bag, which is what I do. You're going to get places like this in my tomatoes here where you're not going to be able to get this weeder thing in through there. So carefully you just come through here, and obviously anything that looks like a weed that you're able to grab, you just come over here and grab it. Like these are weeds right here. And obviously because you're not getting them by the root, they're probably going to grow back. And I have a few little ones over here too. Yeah, you can't get that weeder thing back here. So, you just got to come and grab it like this, okay? And if you do pretty basically what I did for most of the garden, that's how I did it. I did it a row at a time. I went with my weeder thing, and then I just picked up and then came over and throw it in the bag. But another thing that you can do, and I can do that today because the sky is overcast, it's not so hot. And even early in the morning when you come outside, it can still be like 80 degrees or 80 plus degrees. And it's hot and you're sweaty and you don't want to be spending more time, because this will be the longer way of weeding your garden. If you want to do it the fast way, which I did the last couple times, you take your weeder tool and you just all around whatever plants you can get around. Be careful. See, like in here, these are radishes. You can still see there's some weeds and grass, because I'm going to have to hand pull this because you can't get that tool through there without disturbing your plants. But when your plants are spaced far apart like that, or if you carefully go in your rows like my corn, don't try to get around your corn plants because you'll nick them and you'll disturb them. Just go straight up in the row. So if you pull this back, you just straight up in your row, and whatever you can get. If you need to get any other weeds that are close by your plants, you're going to have to bend down and hand pull them. I did that over here, and I haven't done it over here yet. There's a few little things there I have to hand pull them. But if you just go in between your rows, you'll be good. It's the same thing with my beans here. I went up in here through, and I didn't clean this up here, and I went through the rows, and see, I didn't clean this up here. But see, that's what I did. Just through the rows, and then anything around your plants, like here's some around my plants, just hand pull them while you're down there. And you'll keep your garden nice and tidy. When you're going through rows like this, when your plants start getting close together, you're going to need to use your hand like a claw, your fingers, and just rake up the things like I've been doing here, showing you this. But when you get into bigger spaces like this, where they're between your plants, here, I actually missed down there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Something else that you're going to need to do it this other way, and this is what I do on the very hot days when I want to go really fast to rake. Over at Walmart, they have these wood crates. You can get them for like $11, $12. I use that as like a sieve well, I'll show you. And I don't need this one, but I do need this one over here. Okay, so you're going to need your weeding tool, and you can get these at Lowe's, Home Depot. You're going to need a rake. a rake like this, where they're close together, don't get one of those landscaping rakes where they're thicker claws at the bottom and they're far apart, because you're not going to be able to rake things up. So, I think my neighbor was back here weed whacking and he got a lot of stuff. This green stuff here isn't weeds. It's clippings. But there's some weeds here around my potatoes. So, again, if your soil is loose enough, they'll just pull out. Like these are just pulling out because I have compost here. But if you have some soil where it's a little harder, you just go like this. Just push it back and forth like that. Okay, my battery died. I don't know where I left off, but I was over here getting some more weeds around here. So when your plants are spaced far enough apart, after you weed, then get your rake, one of these, and if you lightly pull it like this, you'll catch all of the weeds that you just pulled out with your little weeding tool like this. And you can even take it and rake it all the way down like this. And once you get all the way down here, now because this is one row, and because I did most of the weeding already in here, there's not a lot of weeds. So it's just this little bit. So obviously I can just come over here and just pick this up. However, if I would have been out here earlier when I was getting my weeds, earlier when there were more, I would have raked down here and I would have had a big pile down here. Same thing, I would have raked all the way down here, had big piles. Then I get my piles and I kind of push them together, and then I lift everything up and I put it in here, and then with two hands you just shake it back and forth. And obviously because of the slats, your dirt's gonna fall down there. Little pebbles from your garden is gonna fall down there. Sometimes you'll get some of these little weeds. I stop every now and then, and if I see some weeds that have gone through, I stop and I pick them up and I throw them in my bag. I keep my bag right next to me. Then I continue sieving through, and then that way, this is what you're left with. Because see, if I would have taken all of this, see, picked all this up, you would have had all this dirt and everything else. Then you're taking dirt from your garden, plus your bag gets super heavy, you need more bags. This way, see, there's not that much dirt in there. It's just mostly, there's some, but not much. It's just mostly weeds, right? So that's how I do it. Today it's overcast day. I went slowly around my plants. I didn't use my rake so much because I picked up the weeds as I was going along. I kept my bag next to me and I just plopped them in there. But when it is really hot, if the sun was out right now, it'd be scorching hot. Like I say, what I do is I take my little weeding tool, I just like that around my plants, and then I come and I get my rake and I rake down into piles, and then at the end of every row I kind of rake my piles together, and then I use that thing, I use it like a sieve, and then that way you save your dirt in your garden, but at the same time you can get your weeds and rocks and any little like barks. Like if, for example, this, I didn't run it through here, but say if this was in here, obviously if I'm sieving through here, this is going to be left. You see what I'm saying? And then that way you're cleaning up your garden, you're getting rocks and twigs and all that stuff out of your garden too. So anyway, there we go. Here's my garden so far. I've explained what everything is, but in case you are new or you forgot what I planted, these are beets right in here. Those there are green beans, and then these rows here are all green beans. That's a watermelon plant, that's a pumpkin, and when they start getting bushy and they start to grow their vines, they'll like to try to come here. I might let them come through this row here, but this is my walking row. I'm going to try to angle everything. If you have vine plants, you can angle as they're growing which direction you want them to go. I actually have pumpkins that have actually latched onto my fence, and they've grown up over my fence too. So, but then we have corn here. These are more beans. These here are peppers. Those are potatoes. That's a zucchini. Those are butternut squash. Some peas in here. The rest green beans. These are radishes. This is a cucumber plant here. Those are radishes, and the radishes are doing really good. They're already starting to pop out of the ground. Look at that. And we just planted like 3.5 weeks ago, and some of them are all like this one's already coming out. So let's see that. Isn't it amazing? The seeds are so teeny tiny, and you put it in there in 3.5 weeks. This is what you get. It is amazing. So then we have tomatoes along here, and they're getting big and bushy. Now I put the trellis here so that I can, tag them up here so they kind of grow up the trellis. And then the rest of all these here, these are all potatoes. So that's our garden, and my batteries are going to die again. Okay, I don't know what happened. My second set of batteries, evidently they weren't charged so much and they died too. So that got dented from the snow a few years back, my canopy. That's why it's always look crooked when you see it from, far back over there. And now we have a hole. So I ordered a new one, and I'm hoping that it fits, because I think this model, we bought this thing, oh my goodness. I want to say we bought this thing 7-8 years ago. And they keep coming out with new models of swings. So I bought a universal one. We'll see if it fits. I don't know. I hope it does. I'm going to go back out to my garden and finish showing you, but I thought I'd give you an update on my flowers and so forth. And, look at them. They want to come out. They've already been out. This is my parsley. And I think I might have to take it out and transplant it in my garden. Here's the lettuce. That's growing really well. My cilantro, it's almost like it's going dormant for some reason. I keep it watered. It's getting plenty of sunlight. It's already got the flowers and everything on it. I don't know what happened there. I might have to take that out and put it in my garden and see what it does. All of these flowers, the birdies come in for their bird seed. So there's more lettuce growing there. My basil is got to come out too. I've got to put that in my garden because it's smothering my thyme. I have German thyme, and then I have one of these plants, like that one there, and it's now like taking over the whole thing. We had trimmed over the weekend. I don't think I showed you guys everything since we've trimmed everything up. So it's easier to walk through here. And the flowers over here are doing well. My bench over here, that my fox was sitting on, Alex was out here yesterday. He's pulled some of these things out. He likes to play with these things. Mr. Fox, he was sitting on my other bench. And that bench that I had, it's really, really old. And it was getting wood rotted, and it was falling apart. You couldn't even sit on it anymore. It was leaning forward. So we threw that out. And, more things. We got this bench. It's a metal bench, $50 over at Walmart. And then the cushions came from Lowe's. And this one obviously doesn't go all the way over. I probably need to get like those flat squared ones, but I didn't want to do it because some of them are kind of wide and some of them are small. I didn't know if I got two of the wide ones, if it would fit or be bunched up. And if you get the smaller ones, if it would amount to like if you drew a line here and put it in half. So I just center it. Two people can still sit on here and it's no problem. So anyway, and I trimmed back my vine. My vine was coming all the way down here. So I got that all trimmed up. My hostas are getting really, really big. The peonies doing good over there. Should be getting flowers pretty soon. That's the azalea. That's already bloomed. I'm thinking about getting some hostas like this and putting them on the side of my house. That might be my next project. This clematis wasn't getting a lot of sun. We had a lot of branches that were hanging over. I trimmed all those away too. And so what I'm going to do next, and there's my ferns are starting to, come back really good. This is supposed to be like a bird feeder thing. You put bird seed in there. And I just never did. I think we got that when we moved my mother-in-law here. That was hers. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little potted, flowered potted plant, and I think I'm just going to set it in there because we come in here and we water, plus, you know, it rains, and so everything stays really nice. And my roses are doing good. So that's my happy place. And look at this. I think I showed you guys when I got this a couple years ago. See, it says my happy place on it, and I have to throw that out. So I got my turtles and my frogs, and frogs there. So anyhow, that's this. So now let's go back to the garden. Okay, so here is this, and if anybody doesn't know what this is my gardening shed. This is where I just keep all my gardening tools and everything. Here's another tip. To keep spiders, because spiders will crawl up in your gloves and everything, and other kinds of bugs. When I'm done, this is Josiah's pair, because Josiah and I are the ones that do the gardening back here, and mine. And I put them in Ziploc bags and just squeeze all the air out. And then you don't get spiders or anything else in there. So these are all gardening tools. So this is my gardening shed. This is where we store our Christmas stuff, other lawn equipment, our tractor, and that one over there has miscellaneous things, but it's mostly our wood pellets for our wood stove. So if anybody's wondering why we have all these sheds, this is why. So here's my hydrangea, and they're the bluish purple flowers. On this one, they're white in the front, but you know, you can change the color by changing the acidity of your soil, and you can give them different things to drink, like tea and stuff like that, and it will change the colors of your hydrangeas. I didn't know if you knew that or not. So anyway, it's a big, beautiful bush, and this is oregano. This is a weed that needs to be pulled out of there, and this is rosemary all in through here. This is a grapevine that we thought it was dead, and it's making a comeback, but we're not going to get no grapes on it this year. And flowers all down in through here. Okay, so I finish mounding up all my potatoes, and seriously, potatoes are the easiest thing in the world to grow. They just want two things from you. They want to be loved with dirt and water. So you just mound up the dirt and make sure they get plenty of water. And like if you go several days without rain, like tomato plants can endure that. Some of your other vine plants, they can endure that. Corn can endure that. Potatoes, watermelons, any kind of like honeydew or watermelon, anything like that, they have to have a lot of water. They need moisture. So love your plants with lots of water. So if it's not raining, throw your sprinkler on. That's what I've had to do. And your potatoes especially, you must mound them up with dirt. So anyhow, we'll start down this way. I didn't show you recently my grapes. So here's this is all one grapevine here. And look at my grapes. They're getting really big. And over here, I have raspberries. This is my raspberry bush. And they're starting to turn red. There's a few of them. I'm going to have to come out here and grab them, even if it's a handful, because if you don't, the birds will come and eat them. So this is a pretty good sized raspberry bush. It gets bushier every year. And so, okay. And I got to come over here, and I've got to get my dapple willow trimmed up, because it's going to start shading in here. Once my melons and pumpkins start growing that way, I need that trimmed up. So that's going to be the next thing to do. Okay, so here it is. This is after I've done all my weeding today. And I was looking even at my pepper plants. With all the weeding that I've done, it's kind of worn dirt away from there. So while I was piling up the dirt around there, mounding it, I didn't mound it up like those because it doesn't need that. But I started bringing a lot of dirt up in my pepper plants too, because when they start getting peppers on the plants, you know, they'll get heavy, they'll get top heavy, and you don't want them flopping over. So periodically now when I come out and I weed, I'm just going to have to make sure as the plant's getting bigger and bushier, I'm just going to put more dirt around them to keep them stable. And corn is supposed to be knee-high by 4th of July, and these are already past my shins. They're almost up to my knees. It's probably about, I don't know, 2.5 inches away from my knees, and so it's not even 4th of July yet, so we're doing good there. So this is it. and all the flowers. Everything's doing lovely. And now my grass needs to be cut. I probably could wait till tomorrow, but you can see it's overcast skies. They're calling for rain to start today and into the weekend, and so I don't want to chance it and try to wait till tomorrow. And so I'm going to do it now. And Lacey keeps digging holes. I've counted like 6 holes that she has dug in my yard. Look, there's another one. There's 7. It's like every time I turn around, she's digging holes everywhere. So anyhow, that's it. When I went in the house to get batteries, it was almost 8 o'clock, so it's probably going on 8:30 right now. I can go ahead, any neighbors that are sleeping, it's time for them to wake up anyway, right? That's how I see it. So I'm going to get my tractor, and I'll go ahead and sign off properly and show you myself. I look like a big old mess, but anyway, I will see you guys next video. Bye.